Okay, so this semester I'm making work about the concept of home and how I connect with certain locations and what factors I believe like play into the concept of home, like people around you, your stuff, rather than just like the building and the location. So at the start of the semester, this was pretty relevant because I just moved to Brisbane to study abroad, and it was a big, like, scary move. I was feeling very uncomfortable and lost and a bit like kind of crazy. So I wanted to make work about that feeling of being like completely in a completely new environment and just kind of like starting over. So that obviously got kind of messed up by the coronavirus. So I had to return back to the UK, which is where I am now. And it's been like a really difficult thing because obviously, like in Brisbane, I was feeling very uncomfortable and like, where am I? But coming home, because I know that I'm supposed to be in this place, it's like 10,000 miles away now. And I can't go back to where my home university is, which is 200 miles away from me. It's kind of uncomfortable situation, but also like I should feel comfortable at home. But I think it's like a new kind of world of relevance to my art practice and what I wanted to do about home. So it's kind of worked out for the best in terms of my art practice. But yeah, so since I got back, I've been working on not that much, but I started a photographic series based around just my mum's house. So I've used Photoshop to overlay text onto these images. So I'm using phrases in English and Italian, which is my second language. For my work, I like to show my own feelings. I like to kind of use it as like a cathartic process and just express my feelings through it. And it's not necessarily something that my audience can relate to, and whoever's looking at it, it's just something for me. But I've never worked with text before, and I felt like it was kind of difficult to do that with text because like you can just read it, and obviously like you can make like these cryptic phrases or whatever, but I'm not really a poet or anything. So like using a combination of Italian and English, it kind of gives it this like confusing edge, and it puts a bit of distance between my audience and the artwork itself and makes it more like a thing that's for me, which is kind of what I wanted it to be. So that's why I'm doing that. The phrases themselves, like I kind of basically I wrote down like a load of things how I was feeling, and then I picked out like certain sentences and phrases, edited them around a bit, made them sound a bit more like arty. So one of the ones that I've used on the fireplace one, I've put like the main title across on the mantelpiece, which says "Sei a tuo agio," which it means you are at ease. To be at ease is not really like to be comfortable or relaxed. It's like you weren't, but you're allowed to be now. It's kind of this weird, like, on edge phrase, which is kind of how I feel. I've been sitting opposite this fireplace, which a fireplace is supposed to be like a comfortable, warm, relaxing kind of place, but I've been sitting opposite for a month feeling like I don't want to be here. I don't want to be looking at this fireplace. I want to be looking at Brisbane and like all these beaches and having a great time across the world traveling, but here I am. So that's one of them. I also worked on I made one of the stairs. It's got like on the wall it's written "Don't come downstairs" over and over again, which it kind of feels like being trapped in the house and being trapped like with the same people. You just kind of want to sometimes you just want to isolate, stay in your room, and that's I don't know, that was just kind of a very impulsive piece to express those feelings. And I've made a few more in the series, which are in my folio. And an artist that I think really links to my work is Louise Bourgeois. I've always been inspired by her, but her work, she's an autobiographical artist, which is what I like to consider myself as. And her work always works through like her own issues. She talks about her relationship with her mum, her growing up situation, all of these like very, very personal memories that she's got, but she doesn't like write them down and tell the audience them. So her series Mama is these huge, huge spider sculptures made of bronze, which are, I can't remember how tall they are, but they're like maybe 3 or 4 times the height of a person. And you kind of stand underneath them and look up, and it's this like displacement between like you and this huge sculpture that you're looking up to. It's like a child looking up to a mother. You have like no perception of what they are seeing from up there and all of these issues that they have to deal with. You're just kind of like glad that you have this protection from this like huge figure. But so yeah, I don't, obviously my work isn't similar physically to Louise Bourgeois', but on a conceptual level, it's all about trying to make something that expresses my feelings but doesn't state it out to the audience. And I just kind of love that kind of like, it looks like this simple thing on the outside, but when you start to read into it, you realize this and this and this, and the audience can kind of connect to it and build their own story about it, but it's not necessarily something that they have to do. They can just look at it and be like, okay, that's a sculpture of a spider, or okay, that's a picture of a fireplace. So, yeah.